Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome to this segment of Code Gurbani's a-sabad-a-day. The recitation is the 18th stanza or pauri from Rag Gujari, Var Mahalla Panjwa, composition of the 5th Nanak. The recitation, 2 sloks and a pauri. The first slok. Slok Mahalla Panjwa, Kaam Karodh Mad Lobh Moh, Dusht Basana Nivar, Rakh Leho Prabh Apne, Nanak Sad Balihar. The second slok. Mahalla Panjwa, Khandiyan Khandiyan Muh Gattha, Penandiyan Sabhyang, Nanak Trig Tinak Da Jeevya, Jin Sach Na Lagyo Rang. Pauri. Jiਉਂ ਜਿਉਂ ਤੇਰਾ ਹੁਕਮ ਤਿਵੈ ਤਿਉ ਹੋਵਣਾ, ਜਹ ਜਹ ਰੱਖੈ ਆਪ ਤਹ ਜਾਏ ਖੜੋਵਣਾ, ਨਾਮ ਤੇਰੇ ਕੇ ਰੰਗ ਦੁਰਮਤ ਧੋਵਣਾ, ਜਪ ਜਪ ਤੁਧ ਨਿਰੰਕਾਰ ਭਰਮ ਭਉ ਖੋਵਣਾ, ਜੋ ਤੇਰੇ ਰੰਗ ਰਤੇ ਸੋ ਜੋਨ ਨਾ ਜੋਵਣਾ, ਅੰਤਰ ਬਾਹਰ ਏਕ ਨੈਣ ਆਲੋਵਣਾ, ਜਿਨੀ ਪਛਾਤਾ ਹੁਕਮ ਤਿਨ ਕਦੇ ਨਾ ਰੋਵਣਾ, ਨਾਉ ਨਾਨਕ ਬਖਸ਼ੀਸ ਮਨ ਮਾਹੇ ਪਰੋਵਣਾ, ਜਿਨੀ ਪਛਾਤਾ ਹੁਕਮ ਤਿਨ ਕਦੇ ਨਾ ਰੋਵਣਾ, ਨਾਉ ਨਾਨਕ ਬਖਸ਼ੀਸ ਮਨ ਮਾਹੇ ਪਰੋਵਣਾ. In this passage, the Guru begins with a word of caution. Caution against our innate tendencies, wicked tendencies, corrupting tendencies. You see, we have these within us as well. He lists them out in the first slok. Kaam Karodh Mad Lobh. So, Kaam Karodh Mad Lobh, lust, anger, pride, avarice, moh. These passions lead to a delusion, which is called moh. And he says, dushta basana. These are evil tendencies. Nivar. Cast them aside. And then he thanks. He's full of thanks because Rakh leo prabh apne, Nanak sad balihar. Nanak is beholden to the self because he has been saved. Rakh leho prabh apne. He has been saved from these corrupting tendencies. So there's a message here that we need to cast aside our tendencies to lust, anger, pride, and avarice because they create a delusion. And when you are delusional, you don't make right decisions and you bring yourself to harm. And he's thankful. He gives us an indication that the prabh, the wisdom of the self that is also innate to us, is what will save us. So we need to turn to that wisdom. In the second slok, he talks about weariness, boredom that can come from doing the same thing over and over again. There is this fear. Khandiyan Khandiyan Muh Gattha. Gattha means growing weary, becoming tired. growing weary from eating. And penandaya sab ang, the limbs become tired, the body tires from this constant adornment. But we are hooked, you see. Even when we get tired of eating, we continue to eat. So nanak trig tina da jivya, jin sachana lago rang. A life that is devoid of zest is really, it becomes a curse. Nanak trig, accursed is that life, jin sachana lago rang. So the word rang carries with it meanings that we need to understand. It means color, it means love, and it also means theater, as in rang, munch. So life is a theater of love, where we have seen previously, love is understanding, understanding is attention. So therefore, a person that is not engaged with life, with the theater of life, is living a pointless life. That is what he means by cursed. It's pointless. And what does that do? It leads to this boredom that we have talked about. Kandya mugata. Meaninglessness. So we have stories upon stories about how boredom can assail us. And it does indeed in today's life, because there is no zest, there is no clarity. And we have to rebel against this meaninglessness the trap that we fall into. So those are the sloks that tell us what the problem is and how we can get around it, or at least what the purpose of life, how to lead a purposeful life. And in the Pauri, he says, "Jyo jyo tera hukam tive tyo hovana, jeh jeh rakhe aap teh jaye kharovana." The writ of the wisdom, hukam, the natural order of things, they will unfold. The order will unfold as Providence wishes it. There's nothing a whole lot you can do about it. That's why he says, wherever you place me, there I stand. So this is the whole idea of amor fati, of being in love with fate. Whatever fate has in store with you, for you, embrace it. Embrace life in its entirety, with its highs and its lows. You can't just choose the highs, because joy and sorrow are two sides of the same coin. How do you do that? Naam tere ke rang durmat tovana. How do you wash aside these passions? Naam tere ke rang. Cultivating of virtue that comes out of this wisdom. Jap jap tud narankar paramapau khomana. I lose my delusion, the delusion that he spoke about, through jap, which is recitation, introspection, contemplation, through reason with a capital R. It's an all-encompassing term. It is not just reciting, although it is that. It is not just introspection, although it is that as well. It's not just contemplation, but it is that as well. So it's all of these elements that have to go into paying attention. Remember, we talked about love, rang being attention. You have to be attentive to life around you in all its dimensions, and you cannot be attentive if you're not present. You see, if you're being swayed by passions. So you need wisdom. Jap jap tud nirankar parampau khovana, Jo tere rang ratte, so jonana jovana. It's a very significant line. And those who are imbued with love, with attentiveness, say jonana jovana. Jovana means to furrow, to leave a mark. They do not leave traces of their ego behind. In other words, their actions, their intentions are not laced with ego. What they do is ego free. What they do is for the betterment of the greater populace. It's not just about them. So there is inherent in Gurbani this suggestion that you have to work for the betterment of the whole. Why? Because you are a part of that whole. And whatever you do impacts the whole. So if you do bad things, it's going to boomerang on you without you even knowing it. So be aware of this. Always think in terms of jonana jovana, of not leaving traces of your ego. Your actions should be free of ego. And how do you do that? One, antar bahar ik nain alovana, to understand that joy and suffering are two sides of the same coin. Jini pachata ukam tin kadena rovna, then you will never come to grief because you've understood grief and joy to be just two sides of the same coin. Now nanak baksis man mahe parovna, virtue, the cultivation of virtue and the practice of virtue is the garland that one should place around one's neck, manamahe, around the mind. And virtue, the fundamental virtue is acceptance. And then there is the virtue of creativity. You have to be patient, you have to accept things as they are, not resist, and you have to be creative. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.